Hey guys, welcome to the part 2 of this series where we're talking about the 12-year-old Jesus at the temple. We've already did week 1 last week, so let's go ahead and jump in right into week number 2 for our 5-minute summary. The first question that we have is, what were the questions that Jesus was asking? So the Bible says that he was asking and listening to the teachers at the temple. So what was he asking? Well, we don't know for exactly what he was asking, but we do know that during Jesus' ministry, it was filled with questions. That was Jesus' favorite way of dialogue with other people, and he used questions in a variety of different ways, like to teach. He used it to teach certain lessons. He used it to test people, especially his disciples, to evaluate belief, to make proclamations, and also to rebuke. But in general, what Jesus was doing with questions was to pierce the heart. He always wanted to go deeper than the people were expected to or ready for, and he wanted to get people to think on a deep personal level rather than just an intellectual level. And that's what we think he was doing as a 12-year-old boy. He was asking these teachers these deep questions that pierced their heart. Now, did he say he had to be about his father's business, or did he say I had to be in my father's house? This is a little bit of a controversial issue. It's a translation issue. In my father's house is in multiple translations like the NASB, the NIV, NLT, English Standard Version, and also the Contemporary English Version. But about my father's business is only in the King James Version and the New King James Version. So which one is it? Which one is the right one? Is it house or business? Well, neither house or business are in the original Greek. It's just not there. If you wanted to translate the Greek literally, it would say in the of my father, which doesn't make a lot of sense in English because my father is possessive of something, but we don't know what it is. And so the best guess would be that it would be in my father's place or in my father's house or in my father's temple. But there's no really need to argue about, is it house or business? The main words in this phrase are my father, and we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes. The next question is, why were Mary and Joseph unaware? The angel Gabriel came and visited them and told them about their son, Jesus Christ, that he would be son of the Most High, he would be son of God. And why were they unaware when they saw Jesus in the temple? Well, there's a lot of options here. They were unable to really fully grasp his ministry. Maybe they didn't understand what the angels meant by him being the Son of God. Maybe they thought he was going to be more of a political leader. Maybe they had a different idea of what his ministry was going to look like. But they were unaware to some extent as to what Jesus as a 12-year-old was supposed to do. Now, the interesting thing is, if you go to Matthew 11:27, it talks about being Jesus Christ being the Son of God, but that's only to those who Jesus reveals it to. And so the idea that the mysteries of God, that we don't always know them fully unless God reveals it to us. And so there are some things that Mary and Joseph just weren't aware of because God had not revealed it to them at that time. All right, so why is this story important to Luke? So there's a lot of different reasons why Luke put this in the story, but one reason that I think that it's important to Luke and why it's important to believers is because Luke is introducing a package of affirmations in chapter 1 and chapter 2. We have at least 9 different witnesses affirming the true identity of Jesus Christ, that he is the Son of God. We've got Zechariah and Elizabeth. We have Mary and Joseph. We have Gabriel. We have the angels that went to the shepherds. We have Simeon at the temple, we have Anna at the temple, and we have all of these witnesses that are all affirming the identity of Jesus Christ. But the last one that Luke saves before we start the ministry is out of the actual words of Jesus. And so Jesus saying that it is his Father, he's in his Father's house, that he is the Son of God, that kind of culminates the package of Luke's affirmation at the beginning of his gospel. And so that is the key doctrine for Christians, the identity of God and what Jesus has done. Those two things are the most important things, and that's what Luke starts off his gospel to make sure he sets up the rest of his gospel as the most important thing. So what was Jesus doing from age 12 to age 30? That's 18 years that we don't have a lot of information. We don't know what he was doing. But all that we know from the Luke 2:51 is that he was being obedient to his parents. He was growing in wisdom and stature. He was growing in favor with God and men. And that's really all we know. And so what was he doing in those 18 years? Well, the short answer is he was living a perfect and sinless life. He was being that perfect substitute for our life so that when he was on the cross, he was laying down his life as a perfect human substitute, full of righteousness and obedience and without sin. And so God could have came down for just a couple days, died on the cross, and rose again, but he wouldn't have had that perfect substitution for our life. So Jesus had to essentially live a full adult life that was perfect and complete, so it would be our perfect substitution for us on the cross. All right, guys, that's all I've got for this one, a quick 5-minute summary of this story. And so join us next week as we look further into the Gospel of Luke.